Hello, I'm Anna Schub from the Hat Junkie in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. We are in my little hat studio, which is open to the public by chance or appointment. I'm in the old town of Lunenburg, and you can find the address on my website if you'd like to come visit me. And you can also find me on social media on all the places. So on Instagram, I'm at the Hat Junkie, HATJUNKIE. And on Facebook, I am also at the Hat Junkie. And my website is www.hatjunkie.com. So come and visit me there. Today I've made this little video, which is a compilation of different videos I've taken throughout the summer of 2022 and the fall. And I just want to take you with me on a little bit of my life and the things I love to do, which are basically make hats and knit and spin and natural dye and look at all the beautiful places around me where I live. So let's see. Yeah, I want to do a little bit of show and tell before I take you on some adventures. And the first thing I want to show you is things I'm wearing. So this shawl here, as some of you may know if you've been following me, last December, Christmas, my husband surprised me with an antique spinning wheel, which was made in Lunenburg County where I live and is from about 1820. And I obsessively did not stop spinning until I got it, which was a long time, but every single day. So this is a shawl I just finished, and I always like to have something on my needles that is completely mindless, so that when we're either going to the lake in the summer or a quick car ride or I've got an appointment, I can just grab it and knit. So it's mostly garter stitch, and I spun all this yarn. It's Corriedale, and I have a blending board, so I mixed in little colors of merino, and then that's mixed with some other commercial yarns here. But yeah, I just finished it because I needed the needles. I had no interest in really finishing, but yeah, I just did a little bobble cast off here and away we went. So that is the phone. I'll be right back. And I'm back. So yeah, this is the pretty little shawl I've knit, and I really don't take it off now. It's very soft. It's yeah, I told you what it's made out of. And yeah, so this was one of my early spins. Not super early. The first ones looked like electrified spaghetti, but after that I sort of became interested in local fiber and the concept of like, what would it be like to just get a sheep fleece from somewhere nearby and process the wool. So I have a friend, Desmond, who rents a place from somebody that's got local sheep, and he offered to bring me, you know, a small bag of wool. I was imagining a small bag of wool. But he came by one day, I guess it was the spring, earlier, with two enormous garbage bags full of really dirty sheep fleeces. And I've never done this before, but I thought, well, what the heck, let's give it a go. And so this sweater is the product, I'll go a little higher, yeah, is the product of those sheep, and they are North Country Cheviot sheep, and they live really about 2 kilometers away from my house, and they overwinter on an island off of Blue Rocks, Nova Scotia, and you can watch them get on this little boat and head out onto the island for the winter. It's really neat to see. And yeah, like word has it that you know, that you can't knit with this wool, but I beg to differ because it's actually really beautiful. You know, I'd call it soft-ish. It's like it's a little bit toothy, but anyways, I could just wax on forever about it, but I was really, really proud of myself for doing this. And yes, as you can imagine, it does take forever because you've got to wash the wool, and then you've got to pick it, which is get all the vegetation out of there, and then you have to card it, which I'm doing by hand, and then you spin it, and then of course the knitting. But this all brings me to the overarching theme of everything I keep thinking about and doing these days, which is the concept of time and our modern concept, and how things just a different perspective on time. And sometimes when you just throw out that post-industrial revolution concept of time and you just slow down, you find beauty and enjoyment and in the things that we've lost since industrialization, which I'm not anti-industrialization. I don't want you to think that I do. I hate washing dishes, although I do it by hand. I would not want to be washing my clothes by hand, all of them. I'm all for modern inventions, but in every little thing that we gain, there is something that also gets lost. And spinning was my first foray into well, knitting really, but then spinning into like, wow, that action of spinning is so meditative and beautiful, and even the carding. So sometimes when you just erase the idea that you have to get this done quickly and can just flow with, it's going to take as long as it takes and it will eventually get done, then yeah, there's like a whole new level of gratification that comes with that. So that's where I've been at in just about every aspect of what I'm creating and doing these days. So after that, processing this fleece, the bug bit, and I of course had to find another fleece, and I wanted it to be a local one. So a post came up on my Instagram called about a fiber festival called the 100 Mile Fiber Festival in the Annapolis Valley, and I went, and of course I came home with 2 sheep fleeces, one of them being a Shetland sheep, and that's the yarn that I have just spun from it, and it's so soft and beautiful, and it's such a joy to learn about the qualities of yarn. So okay, last thing in show and tell is my blanket. This is something I started several months ago, maybe last winter, and I just picked it up again. And it's the pattern for these little squares is a free pattern. You can find it, oh god, I don't remember, but the designer is Ann Weaver, and it's called the Little Log Cabin Squares. I think you can find them on Ravelry, and they're just so fun to make. Not as fun to attach, but I'm getting better. There's so many ways to attach them. I went with a 3 needle bind off because like anything else other than crochet, which I didn't like the look of, will actually take away a stitch from each side, and then it gets a bit smaller. And because each little square takes me sometimes an hour and a half, it's crazy. I couldn't handle the idea of it getting smaller when I attached them. So it's really not very big yet. And this is, I just recently picked it up again because I'm just going, sort of pushing my limits with the concept of time. and how long things are supposed to make. For me, like a sweater taking a few months is just absolutely no big deal. But when something takes years, like this blanket will, because I really want it to be a queen size blanket, it felt sometimes like I'd have so much fun making it, but then I'd attach 10 and then feel sort of demoralized that, that it really still didn't quite look anywhere near a blanket, and I'd been working weeks on that one little strip. But I just decided to really push my my thoughts on time and just see if I can just focus on the process. And since making that kind of resolution to myself, I'm just having a whale of a time, and it's actually hard to stop making them. And even knitting them, I'm just doing better. And what I'm doing, knitting them together, and what I'm doing is that I'm attaching them as I make these. So what I had done before was I made a whole bunch and then I attached them, and because the attaching wasn't very fun, I just dropped it. But now I'm like making 10 and I start to attach them, and then I attach a few and make another one because I love to make these guys. So it's become very satisfying, and I'm very proud of myself again. That's there's nothing more gratifying than making things that take a long time. So yeah, that's my show and tell. What else? Yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to take you to some of the videos I made. The first one is just a little summer video with some local scenes, and yeah, I've been very busy. I was very busy in my studio this year with lots of tourists coming. I think everybody was very eager to get out into the world, so I had a ton of visitors, which I loved. People that were buying hats that I love to make, and meeting lots of wonderful women, and also some men too. You will see the two men in this video are Christopher and Jamie from the Cabin Boy Knits, so they are going to be doing a little video about Nova Scotia, and I think I'll be in there, which is really exciting. And you will also see Chicory Blue, is it called General Store? I think so. It's in Blockhouse, Nova Scotia, and it's the most amazing place in the world. Camellia is the owner and designer and mastermind behind this wonderful place. It's really like a community hub. She is a farmer, and she created these beautiful flower gardens outside, and they make everything there. She also sells lots of local goodies, and so she's still open. I'm hoping she'll be open through the winter, but make a detour to go to the Chicory Blue General Store. It is, I hope I'm calling it the right thing. It's so gorgeous, and sitting there for coffee is something that Tony and I did on several Sundays in the summer. So yeah, that was wonderful. And you'll also see some footage of my feet in the water, and sometimes when I'm just so busy, it's hard to stop. And the times that I just made myself get up and leave and go for a bike ride over to Second Peninsula or Blue Rocks are just my favorite memories of the summer. So yeah, you'll see that. And I think that's all in that video. So I hope you enjoy that, and I will be back after the video. again. So next I would like to share with you something else I did a lot of this summer and hope to do some more since I have figured out how to bring it indoors, and that is natural dyeing. This goes along with my concept of how slow can you go? So natural dyeing is very different than dyeing with synthetic dyes. A synthetic dye is basically all in one. It's a little faster. Natural dyeing, you have to go through a couple of processes. One, you have to, other than indigo, you have to extract the dye from the plant, so you're making a dye bath. But you also have to mordant the fiber, which means you have to soak it in a solution of usually a metallic salt. And so I tend to use alum because it's the least toxic, but there are others. And this allows the fiber and the dye to bond together. So, and then like the washing out, everything takes a long time, but it is so fun to take these plants that we step on and completely neglect, and then suddenly you realize that all these plants have color in them. Yellow is the one that is most prevalent out in nature. And I love yellow, but what I really love is green. So in order to get green, you first have to dye yellow and then over dye it with indigo. So you'll see that too. The greens you see have been yellow over dyed with indigo. The one plant that was like my summer surprise was goldenrod. It was the first year I've ever dyed with goldenrod, and goldenrod gives you an amazing, intensely bright and vivid yellow that is known for not fading. So that was a lot of fun. You'll also see some madder root dyeing, which I love. And yeah, and the season began with picking dandelions and getting a beautiful soft yellow out of the dandelions. So yeah, that's what you will see in this video. So I hope you enjoy. So now I would like to take you over to watch a little bit of the process and some footage of some of my favorite hats. Really, right now I have to say it is my favorite kind of hat to make, and that is my hand knit and felted hats. Yeah, I have been doing these for a few years now, and I was so delighted this summer that pretty much I would make them and they would sell. And they take they take a really long time to make. I can't tell you exactly how long, but a long time. I think I don't want to know exactly how long, but of course, like everything else, I love making them. But what I really love is I've been very passionate about trying to be sustainable in the making of my hats, and there's really nothing more sustainable than knitting and wool. So, you know, in sewing, which I still love to do, you take a big piece of fabric and you cut out little pieces and attach them, but there's always leftovers. And no matter how hard I try, you can't get through all the leftovers. I don't throw anything away. I'll use it as stuffing. But in the fashion industry, a lot is wasted. So knitting is different because you are taking the yarn and then building a product up, and then whatever leftover yarn, you can just knit it into something else, just like my blanket. So yeah, these hats are made in that way, which I love. And I knit them very large, and then I shrink them down to size. So that creates a really thick felted fabric, and that makes it extra warm, and it also makes it more windproof. So I have had a beret like this. This one is going to my sister-in-law, but I have had a beret like this for I think 3 years now. I've been wearing it, and there's no sign of wear at all. You know, unlike synthetic fibers that they'll look ratty after a while, especially like after you've washed them. These they never do that. So as long as you know, protect it, it doesn't get, well, I suppose moths would be an issue, but I've not had an issue with moths, knock on wood. But that could be your only enemy. But other than moths or, you know, putting an actual hole in it with something, they're just going to last you an entire lifetime, and more. And best of all, when their useful life is over, they can be composted. You can literally put this in the compost. Just cut it up, and don't do that. but if it was just its time was up, you really could do that. And that's, to me, just such a beautiful concept. So this is one of the reasons I love making these hats so much. So yeah, the wool is Canadian wool, and I've been incorporating a lot of natural dyeing into these hats. So you'll see some of that in these videos. Hope you enjoy.
Oh, say, let us fly, dear.
Where, kid?
To the sky, dear.
Oh, you flying machine.
Jump in, Miss Josephine, ship ahoy. Oh, joy, what a feeling.
Well, boy.
In the ceiling, ho, high, hoopla, we fly to the sky.
For the final video, I am going to take you with us to a little trip we took to the Annapolis Valley. Tony and I had our 20th wedding anniversary in August, and we both agreed that there's not much we need and that we'd rather just take a nice trip and treat ourselves well, and that's what we did. It was just a couple days, but amazing how 2 days away is just so filled with memories. Whenever I think of my summers, I always think about the couple days that we got away. So yeah, the first place we went was to Annapolis Royal, and You'll see some beautiful footage on the way there, which is close to Kejimkujik Park. And then you'll see the Annapolis Royal Farmers Market and Lucky Rabbit Pottery, which tragically has decided to close their doors. Not really tragic, they have just had a good run and they're on to different projects, but I did manage to get a beautiful mug from there. My mug is in the shot there. It's a turquoise and green one there. And we stayed at a very charming little Airbnb spot, which also unfortunately has decided to not really be an Airbnb anymore, but they're called the Pharmacy, as in farm. They had a little spa there with a hot tub and sauna and steam room. It was really beautiful, and outside they have all these animals that are just pets, like even a bull, pet bull, pet sheep, chickens, and yeah, if you add animals to any vacation, I'm sold. So yeah, we had a really fun time, and then we just stayed over one night, and then in the morning we drove to Wolfville, which is just over an hour away from we stayed in Bear River. I didn't mention that. That's where the little place was, and that is such a cute little town. I just can't recommend it enough. There's like almost nothing there, but it's just charming, and there's you're going to see footage from this old cemetery. It looks like a place that time forgot. But yeah, back to our trip to Wolfville. We then went to Wolfville in the morning and went for a glorious bike ride along the Minas Basin. And Wolfville is such a great town. So there's another place that I highly recommend. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. So that's the last video for today. So I just want to say thank you for joining me. And if you like this video and want to see more, please click like and subscribe so you'll know when I've got another video up, which hopefully will be sooner than the year or more since my last one. But anyways, lovely spending time with you, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.